The money arrived on a Tuesday morning. $94,000, transferred into her account from a name she had never seen before. Mara sat at her kitchen table with a mug of coffee going cold beside her and read the notification 3 times. The bank's fraud line would open at 9. She had 40 minutes. She looked at the number again, $94,000, and she did not call the bank first. She made another coffee. She needed to think. Mara Selden was 38 years old and had been freelancing as a bookkeeper for 11 years. She worked from a 1-bedroom apartment in a mid-sized city, managed accounts for small businesses, filed quarterly reports, kept other people's numbers in order while her own stayed reasonable. Not in crisis, not comfortable either. She had $12,000 in savings, $8,400 in credit card debt, and a lease that renewed every year without fanfare. She was the kind of person who checked her bank account every morning the way other people checked the weather. She knew her balance the way she knew the distance from her apartment to the nearest pharmacy, automatically, without thinking about it. So when the notification came at 6:47 a.m., incoming wire transfer, $94,000, Mara noticed it the way she would have noticed a fire alarm. Not panic, just a complete, immediate shift in attention. She opened the banking app. The transfer had cleared overnight. The sender account showed a name, Aldridge Consulting LLC. Below that, a routing number she did not recognize. No message, no note in the memo field, just the amount and the name and the timestamp. She had never heard of Aldridge Consulting. Her first clear thought was, this is a mistake. Her second thought, which arrived almost simultaneously and which she was not proud of, was, but it's in my account. The bank's fraud line opened at 9. She had 40 minutes and a coffee that had gone cold. She made another cup. She sat back down. She told herself she was only waiting because the phone line wasn't open yet. She almost believed it. She called the bank at 9:03. The representative was polite and practiced. There had been a flag on the transfer, she was told. It had come from an account with limited transaction history, and the amount triggered an automatic review. The bank would not reverse it unilaterally, but they were asking her to confirm, was this transfer expected? Did she know the sender? Mara said she did not know the sender. The representative told her she had 48 hours to formally report the transfer as erroneous, after which the bank's review period would expire and the funds would be considered cleared. Mara thanked her and hung up. She typed Aldridge Consulting LLC into a search engine. The results came back thin. A business registration page for a Delaware LLC, filed 4 years ago, listed as dissolved 18 months later. A phone number that, when she tried it, rang 6 times and went to a generic voicemail. A cached web page that was mostly broken links and a vague description, financial advisory services for emerging market clients. Nothing else, no reviews, no news, no social presence. She tried the routing number. It traced back to a small commercial bank headquartered in Virginia, a bank she had no connection to. She sat with that for a while. At 11:15, her phone rang. Unknown number, but a local area code. She answered. The man's voice was calm, professional. He said his name was Daniel, that he was calling on behalf of Aldridge Consulting, and that there had been an internal processing error. A wire had been sent to the wrong account. He apologized for the inconvenience. He asked if she would be willing to authorize a return transfer. Mara asked him to spell the company name. He did. She asked for a callback number and a reference number for the original transfer. A pause. Then, he would email those to her within the hour. She gave him no email address. She said she would call the number on file. He said that was fine. She hung up. No email came. She had expected none. That evening, a text arrived from a number she did not recognize. 11 words. Please, don't send it back. It isn't theirs to take. She read it 4 times. She did not respond. The next morning, with 31 hours left in the bank's review window, she went back to the search results. This time she added a word, fraud. The result that came back was a court filing summary from 2 years ago. A civil case. Aldridge Consulting LLC had been named as a financial intermediary in a settlement dispute. The plaintiff was a woman named Claire Ostrander, a former compliance officer at a logistics company who had reported internal fraud, received a whistleblower settlement, and then watched the settlement funds route through a series of shell accounts before reaching her. They had reached her, mostly, What arrived in her account was $190,000 less than what the court had ordered. The case had been settled quietly. Aldridge Consulting had dissolved. The man listed as the firm's registered agent was named Thomas Breyer. Mara searched Thomas Breyer. He had a LinkedIn profile. Financial consulting, based in Virginia, currently listed as working for a firm called Meridian Capital Partners. She looked at the photo. She could not know if this was the same Daniel who had called her. She had no way to confirm that, but she stared at the profile for a long time. What she was beginning to understand, or beginning to suspect, which is not the same thing but felt identical in that moment, was that the money had not arrived in her account by accident. Someone had moved it deliberately. Someone had chosen an unconnected person, a stranger with no relationship to Aldridge or Breyer or the original case, and routed $94,000 to her. The question was why. The larger question, the one she had not let herself ask directly until now, was, what was she supposed to do with that? She had 29 hours left. She did not sleep well that night. She made a list of what she knew, and a second list of what she didn't, and the second list was longer by a significant margin. At 2 in the morning, she considered calling the bank and reporting the transfer so they could sort it out. At 3, she decided she needed more information before she handed the decision to someone else. At 4, she fell asleep at her desk with a browser tab open to a federal whistleblower protection statute that she had been reading without fully understanding. At 8 in the morning, her phone rang again. Same pattern, local area code, unknown number. She answered. The voice this time was a woman's. Quiet, careful. She said her name was Claire. Claire Ostrander did not apologize for calling. She explained, slowly and without drama, that she had been monitoring a bank account linked to an old business entity for 2 years, one of the accounts that had been used to move her settlement funds. She had a lawyer who had quietly maintained that access is part of an ongoing inquiry. 2 days ago, someone had moved money through that account to an external recipient. The recipient was Mara. Claire did not know who had made the transfer. She suspected it was someone inside Meridian Capital Partners, someone with access to dormant Aldridge accounts who had seen something they wanted to preserve. Possibly a transaction record, possibly documentation of where the original $190,000 had gone. Possibly they had panicked, possibly they had a conscience. She didn't know. She told Mara that Thomas Breyer had called her lawyer that morning, demanding to know who the transfer recipient was. Her lawyer had said nothing. Mara listened to all of this without speaking. When Claire finished, there was a long pause. Then Mara asked, "What do you want me to do?" Claire said, "I'm not asking you to do anything. I called because I thought you deserved to know what you were holding. Whatever you decide, whether you return it, report it, keep it, ignore it, that's your decision. I'm not in a position to tell you what's right here. I barely know what's right for me." Mara looked at the number still sitting in her account. $94,000. She had not touched it. It had not felt like hers since the moment it arrived. It still didn't. She thanked Claire. She said she would be in touch. She sat there for a while after the call ended. The review window had 12 hours left. She opened a new browser tab and searched for attorneys who specialized in financial fraud recovery. She wrote down 3 names. She made coffee. Then she picked up the phone and called the first one. What followed was not fast. It was not dramatic in the way she might have imagined, in those early hours when the number had first appeared in her account and she had told herself she was only waiting because the phone line wasn't open. There were depositions. There was a federal inquiry that began 6 weeks after her call with the attorney and expanded in ways she did not fully understand for months. Thomas Breyer resigned from Meridian Capital Partners in July. The resignation was quiet. No press release. No announcement. One day his profile disappeared from the firm's website. The money sat in a frozen account for 7 months. Mara received a small witness fee that covered none of her time and most of her expenses, which felt about right for the situation. In November, she received a letter. It was from Claire. It said that the inquiry had recovered $174,000 of the original settlement, not all of it, but most. The case had been formally reopened. A civil judgment was expected within the year. Claire said she was not sure what to say except that she was glad Mara had made the call she made. She said she understood if Mara was not glad. These things are easier to feel good about from a distance. Mara read the letter twice. She folded it and put it in a drawer. She went back to her desk and opened the accounts she was working on for that week, a florist in the next neighborhood, a small electrical contractor, a woman who ran a catering business from her home kitchen. She had $12,000 in savings. The credit card debt was gone. The attorney had made sure her legal costs were covered through the inquiry process. She checked her account balance the way she always did. Every morning, automatically, without thinking too hard about it. The number was ordinary. She found, after everything, that she preferred it that way. Story notes. Fictional. Inspired by documented patterns in whistleblower settlement fraud and shell company dissolution used to misdirect court-ordered funds. All names, entities, and events are invented.